everyone, Krista Moser here. Today I get to show you my latest pattern. This is the Gilded Christmas Tree Skirt. I've done it in the black and gold combination and then in this red and green combination for kind of a whimsical option. So what I thought I would show you is how to use stripes to make a really dynamic pattern come to life. It's kind of a cheater when it comes to design because it gives you this freebie. And both of these tree skirts use striped fabric in a couple different ways. So here I've got this wide black and white stripe. Now this is for the gold and black version. This is a 1/2 inch scale stripe. And I am going to cut diamonds in such a way that the stripe runs point to point. So it looks like it spokes in and looks like you did all this complicated piecing when really it's just a cut. So I'm using the large diamond ruler. This is Creative Grids diamond. Now I'm using the large one. You can use the mini for the star blocks here, but you will need the large one for all the surrounding pieces. So I'm going to start with the large, but I'll demo with the mini as well. Okay, so like I said, this is a 1/2 inch scale stripe, black and white. Now the ruler has 2 dashed lines going down the middle of it. There's a solid center line and then there's a dashed line on either side, a 1/4 inch apart, and so creating like a 1/2 inch channel. So I'm actually going to center that on one of my black stripes here. Let's see, can I get it closer to, yep, we're going to do 3.5 inch diamonds. So I'm going to center it on the first one that I can kind of see. I'll be cutting this 3.5 inch diamond. So my 1/2 inch channel goes right down that black stripe. And I'm just going to cut here and here. Now I'm going to turn the ruler. So I'm turning the ruler around. You could turn the fabric if you prefer, but I'm just going to turn the ruler because I kind of like to leave the fabric sitting in place. So now I've turned the ruler and I'm lining those same 2 lines up on that same black stripe right down the middle here, and then across the top edges where I had just cut, that should fill in the 3.5 inch solid diamond line. So that's what we're going for. Flat tip comes down here to the end. So I know what I'm going to fill in is a 3.5 inch diamond cut with the black stripe going right down the middle, just like that. Okay, so to cut again, I'm going to line it up down here. I had to scoot it just a little bit down from the last cut so I could center that black strip. Just like this. And you get these little triangle cuts that you can maybe use for another cool project. Now I turned the ruler around, so I did my first 2 cuts, and now I'm going to nestle that right in to the 3.5 inch diamond with the black stripe going up the middle again. So there's 2 diamonds, and this is the way they create spokes. So if you're using the mini ruler, this is what you will do. Very much the same process. Here's our mini ruler, and now I'm going to, coming in from this direction here, I've lined up my center 2 lines. I'll just cut, and I don't need to cut all the way across the end, maybe a little further than that. Move this, fold that back, and now I can turn the ruler around. Same thing, centering the lines and filling in that 3.5 inch diamond cut. Just like that. So it gets you the very same cut, just done with the mini ruler. Keep working your way across the strip. You will get quite a few from one strip salvage to salvage. And then the surrounding cuts, I'll set this aside. The surrounding cuts, because I have a few more of these cut already. So we'll put those here. For the gold background, it also uses a stripe. And this time I wanted the stripes to create kind of a halo. They're ringing around the star. So here I've got my stripes going the length of the strip. This is an 1/8 inch fabric, so it's an 1/8 inch wide gold stripe going down the length. And now what I'm going to cut are 3.5 inch triangles. So here again, using the ruler, I've got my 3.5 inch line going across the bottom here. This is the black dashed line. Flat tip up here at the top. And I'm just going to cut on either side. Now I went ahead and laid a couple of strips together so you can cut through more than one layer if you are comfortable. Turn the ruler. Now I'm coming down from the other side, just like that. Turn the ruler again. I'm going to work my way across this strip. And then I'm also going to trim the tips off. These outside two tips. That is really helpful when it comes to piecing in your final assembly. It just makes it a breeze. Now I'm going to demo with the mini ruler because some of you may be wanting to do this part with that. So same thing, just smaller. Sometimes smaller cuts are easy to do with a smaller ruler. So here I'm lining it up the 3.5 inch line there across the top, the flat tip here at the bottom, and trim. And I might be able to get one more. Can I do it? Just barely. Just barely. Now, since I'm going to go ahead and trim those tips off anyway, flattening that outside tip. So your triangle has 3 flat tips. Okay, I'll take these ones in a stack, these ones in a stack. You can kind of stack them together to trim those outside tips off. Another trick I do for that, I'll show you with the large ruler, because you do the same thing with the large ruler. If you're going to trim the tips off, is you turn the ruler into the piece. So you can kind of fan the pieces out, and then with the large ruler, I'll just take just like this and turn as I go. Just makes it a little quicker. Okay, so that is that. All right, so here is how your stars will spoke out. So here we have your diamonds. You need 6 of them. And all their spokes come into the middle, just like this. And then you're going to surround them on all sides with these triangles. And these, the lines go along the outer edge consistent with, so when they turn the corner it creates kind of a little chevron. Just like this. Need a couple more. Voila. So in order to assemble this, all you're going to do is break them apart into units. Just like this. So your diamond gets a triangle sewn to one side. You press that first seam in towards the diamond, then you sew the second triangle on. You press that seam out towards the triangle, and you do that on every single one of these. And if you do that, the first seam in, the second seam out, then when you go to sew these triangle units to each other, then those seams all nest. So I actually did that part of it. And let me just show you what I mean, how this works. I love using striped fabric. I think it is so fun. Okay, so here are my triangle units, and you'll see from the back here, this first seam was pressed in, and then the second seam pressed out. And so if I'm going to line these up, this seam's out, this seam's in, same thing here, out and in, and all the way around, you get perfect matching that way. All of your seams come together. And it makes for nesting seams here, and then when you go to sew your fabrics in, everything just stays in line. So you end up with these matching spokes almost effortlessly, especially because we've got our flat tips out here. And that gives you a perfect matchup point when going to sew those on. Okay, so I need to show you how I did the star that spins. So I showed you the star that spokes, but how to do the star that spins, kind of the candy cane looking one. Also using striped fabric. So here, just like the gold, the stripe I've got running the length of the strip here. So just side to side. And now instead of cutting with the diamond going up and down, you turn it to the side. So here, again, we'll use the large ruler. I'm starting my cuts. This is just a cleanup cut. I just need to get myself a 60-degree angle to start. So I'll line up the fabric right under the side of the ruler, and then I'm just going to get myself a starting cut. That gave me a 60-degree angle. And now I can pick it up and move the ruler down the strip. So this is for spinning stars. Not top to bottom. We turn the ruler to the side, and that way the stripes go along the diamond sideways, kind of, just like this, and 3.5-inch diamonds. Pick it up, move it down. Notice I'm trimming those little tips off. I'm going to do that the same with the other 2 tips. It just makes it so easy to piece. If you're using the mini ruler, then you would do the same thing, turning the ruler to the side, 3.5-inch diamond lines here, and flatten the tip. Will I get it? Ooh, very close. Just like that. Flatten the tip, all right, and we can trim off the other 2 tips. Stack them or fan them. Okay, just like that. So now what happens when you lay these out is they spin. So instead of spoking, they rotate like a spinning pinwheel, just like this. Striped fabrics have so many options. I love it. Okay, so the surrounding of this, you probably noticed, is green. It also is a narrow little stripe. I don't have it here, but I'll kind of pretend with my gold ones. So you're going to do the same idea, where pretend like this is a green narrow stripe, and it follows in the same order. So here I'm going to show you. When you go to sew these together, you have one on each side. So here's where your flat tips become very helpful. You're going to sew this seam. You have a flat tip here and a flat tip here. Gives you a perfect match. So just like this, then you're going to press that seam in towards the diamond, and then this one out towards the triangle. Everything else is the same. But just by cutting your striped fabric going the length of this strip, it gives you this spinning option rather than the spoked option. So I did include both of those in the pattern because I thought they were both fun, and each application, you know, one looks more whimsical and the other one a little more regal. So you can decide. Okay, so for the other cuts, let me show you how those work. Everything else is very, very simple, and actually the pieces are pretty large as well. So what we have here, some strip sets. I like to work with strip sets whenever possible. So I've got a strip set here where I've got my blacks and gold and white. And now I need to cut my end again to get myself a 60-degree angle start. So here I'm turning the ruler to the side, lining up that edge. I'm just trimming essentially the salvages off. But I'm giving myself a 60-degree angle start just like this. So there we have it. That's junk. Now I'm moving the ruler down the strip to fill in the 6.5-inch diamond. So I'm running it right to that solid line that has a 6.5-inch bubble in its corners. The edge here along the strip. Flatten the tip, and we'll go ahead and flatten the other tip as well. And then I just keep moving down the strip, cutting as many as I need. So there's a couple of them. Maybe get one more here. So these cuts you need the large ruler for because they're just too big for the mini ruler. Okay, So that's one. Now, in order to get your 2 units here to chevron, I have cut another one. Same set. The only difference is you turn your ruler, instead of going up and to the right, you're going to angle it so it's up and to the left. So I turned the ruler down towards me. Of course, I already had that cut off. And now what I get to do is just like this. And it is again filling in the 6.5-inch diamond. Just like that. And I'll just go ahead and trim off these tips while they are here. Okay. All right, so for some simple assembly, what we do next. Now you saw the star and how it comes together. So I've sewed one. So here it is. And now in order to surround it, we're doing these in wedge pieces. So we're going to make 6 wedges like this. So I've cut some triangles. Now this is of course in the pattern, but this will turn this is like your background unit. So it turns your star into a diamond, just like this. If you're looking at your pattern, you're in your final layout section here. This is step 15. And I need my chevrons, 1 in each direction. Here and here. And then I also need some triangles. Now I didn't show you these cuts, but they were basically a strip set of black and white sewn together. I already cut my triangles from them, alternating. So very much like the 3.5-inch triangles there, but bigger. All right, let's see if I can get this to be enough of space you guys can see. So here's your diamond unit, and then we have triangle and a triangle. So you're going to build triangle units like this. We have a triangle here, and it's opposite here, just like that. You've got 3 major units, and then this one joins here, and now you have one big wedge. You do that 6 times, and you end up with the whole tree skirt. Isn't that fun? It's so much simpler than it looks. I love this idea. Okay, so what we've got here is basically the tree skirt. Of course, I showed it to you in both the colorways and how to utilize stripes, even striped strip sets, where the stripes create chevrons, and it just makes a really dynamic look when it's really not that hard. You break it down, and the units are very, very simple. So here's the pattern. It's called the Gilded Christmas Tree Skirt. We also have kits for that, so I'll show you that in a minute. But what I thought I would do is a quilt along. So I've done this a few years in a row now around Christmas time. So we're going to do it again. Now this isn't going to be a long quilt along because really you can see how simple this is. So we're going to do it for 3 weeks, starting on November 15th. Where I will just walk you through every one of these elements and units and then final assembly. So we'll start on November 15th and we'll go for 3 weeks and you'll have the whole thing done for Christmas. It'll be really fun. Every one of the quilt alongs that I do, we do it as a video tutorial. So each week you get a new video and I work in all my tips and tricks into those. They're really, really a lot of fun. You get to show your work, and it's a good time, had by all. So if you're interested in the quilt along, we're going to put all the details to that in today's blog. So that's at KristaMoser.com, and then you click on the blog. You would go to today's blog, and there will be a link to it. If you're looking for it on Facebook, you just need to type in Gilded Christmas Tree Skirt Quilt Along, and there's no cost involved, but you do have to purchase the pattern. So that's the way you would be admitted. Okay, so I talked about kits. I love using striped fabric, and I know that not everybody can find them in their local quilt shop, so I thought I would put together some kits for you guys if you like this style. So here is the black and gold version. Of course, we've got that wide stripe, black, white, the narrow stripe, and my glitzy gold here all together. And that includes the pattern, of course. And then the red and green version. Wait till you see this fabric. It's just really fun. So a couple variations of green, the green stripe, a red with little speckles in it, the red and white stripe, and then this whimsical Christmas dot. I call it my Dr. Seuss tree skirt. So that kit is also available, also with the pattern included. And that's all at KristaMoser.com. We'll put links for everything in the description box below this video. I hope you're inspired here. I hope you found something fun, a new idea how to use stripes to get a really dynamic effect. Simple, simple, simple. Thanks for watching.